Welcome to UVTV, motherfucker. I'm here to kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. Oh God. Nia, nigga, for feather me in. Today we're going to be talking about the power of speaking things into existence and understanding oracles. Now, I feel like oracles and speaking things into existence kind of go hand in hand and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of combine and smash them together when it comes to the title. Because at first I was just going to talk about oracles and stuff like that. But the power of speaking things into existence and stuff like that, in actuality, like the overall perspective of how you can look at it in totality, is really just that. It's really just oracles based upon divination or like a priest or something like that, of looking at them as like a medium between God, aka all possibilities, right, and the fleshly world, the material world, and the external tools of technology that we make from that, just in general, from the body, from the physical and stuff like that. We look at them as the ordained, or we look at them as like the counterintuitive. You know what I'm saying? We look at them as like the conduit of the channeling of like the vessel between God and the actual physical world, and try to put it into words and preacher teacher type of energies and stuff like that to make it look relatable, so we can make it relative to bring God back on earth and stuff like that. But a lot of these motherfuckers be looking at God like a deity, not as all possibilities or all of existence, all coming together. You know what I'm saying? Something cosmic, something that's universal and stuff like that. And then the universe in general is just an adjective, not a thing that's like a noun. That's basically like acting on its own. It's all possibilities, and us having our own subjective point of view of the objective of the overall, and then we're trying to bring the overall into our own subjective point of view. Well, we can't do that without having our own one of a kind individuality, authentic way of how we look at it, and then we all come together, teamwork make the dream work, and then we bring that into existence and stuff like that. So that's why I said the power of speaking things into existence is basically acting like a oracle, acting as a source, acting as like an orator and stuff like that. That would be like the new age concept of how we can look at it when it comes to like being an orator, a well-spoken person, public speaking and stuff like that, and you're able to speak things in the proper manner based upon what the fuck I'm talking about right now and stuff like that. But I'm gonna get into that now, just in general, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go in. An oracle is a person, typically a priest or a priestess, which is just a religious leader. And a religious leader is just a real legion leader and stuff like that. So take away all the holy concepts when it comes to a religious motherfucker and stuff like that, to where you can make that shit real simple and stuff like that. So the same way how y'all look at a cult or occultism and stuff like that, occultism is just a type of cult. And then how y'all look at cults just in general, and y'all look at that as a alternative to the mainstream production when it comes to religion and stuff like that. Just look at religion or someone who's religious as, oh, they believe in a religion, a real legion, and they rely on that when it comes to their belief systems and stuff like that. And then they have someone who's like a leader of that. The same way how you look at a cult leader, they just look at that as a religious person. They just do it for different purposes and stuff like that. That cult is gonna use it for cult-like purposes and stuff like that. So it's based upon something that's done behind closed doors. Even though religious motherfuckers be doing the same thing, but they try to broadcast it in a global scale and stuff like that when it comes to, you know what I'm saying? Like look at like religion is like the global scale version of what cults be doing. You get what I'm saying? So it's just a real legion, the leader of a real legion, basically. So back to the actual definition. An oracle is a person that's typically like a priest or a priestess, which is just a religious leader through whom a deity was believed to speak, offering wise, prophetic, or ambiguous advice. Now, being wise is just you utilizing your awareness. So that's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowledge. So it's you having a know-how. So you could know a lot of things. You could be aware about it. You can comprehend it. You understand it. But you being wise is you basically like learning from the knowledge. Oh, how can you utilize that based upon you know what I'm saying? Like having discernment or decision making or some shit like that, for the most part. That's basically what wisdom just is. You're able to extract wise things, be a wise man from that knowledge. So you're not gonna just have knowledge, because knowledge is just knowledge. So it's always gonna be infinite and stuff like that. You're able to extract from that, and you can give it some type of formation. You can give it foundation. Oh, it's a means to an end, but you know how to utilize that for the circumstance and the situation and stuff like that. So it's you learning from your mistakes and stuff like that. Because a motherfucker can know, they can like that. That's like, as an example, right? That's like a motherfucker who goes through a lot of domestic abuse, and let's say they're the one being abused and stuff like that. They know they're being abused, but they're not trying to do something to counteract them being abused. And they probably gonna put the abuser in a position to where it'd be like some type of Stockholm syndrome, where they said it'd be like, oh, but the history, the lore, because of this and that, or it's not that simple because this person helps me when it comes to my physical circumstance and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're aware that you're getting abused, but you're not trying to do anything like contact the authorities and stuff like that, or try to put yourself out that situation, aka be wise about it based upon what you're aware about to make it so you stop being like domestically abused and some shit like that. So it's the same concept. Knowledge is just knowledge. So it's just you having awareness and comprehension and you understand something. But wisdom is able to extract that knowledge and turn it into some type of productivity. You turn it into some type of foundation, some type of structure. You're able to learn something from the knowledge, just in general. Cause motherfuckers can be aware and know a lot of shit, but they ain't learning nothing though. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like you understand what the shit is, but you're not trying to utilize it to make your circumstance or situation better, to make it more broad, to look at it from a higher angle. You're only gonna look at it from that specific shape and form, and you being stubborn about it, and from you being so rooted into it and so stuck on that, you're not able to be consistent. You can't make no new shape and form out of the thing that you're fixated on at the moment, that you're being stubborn about and stuff like that. So you're just like a one-track minded person and all that type of shit. And then being prophetic is just foretelling events and stuff like that. So anything you be hearing about, oh, prophecy, oh, prophetic and stuff like that, right? I'm not going to get into that concept of like what the fuck they even mean when they be saying that, because they really talking about anybody in the Bible and stuff like that, or any type of religious text, and they start talking about prophets. They just talking about them being profitable off of that concept, off of that idea and stuff like that, of how they can make business and how they can make money and all that type of shit. But that's a different video. But it's just foretelling events. So you having the foresight. So you're able to utilize your intuition to see where a situation is going on a lighter scale and stuff like that, not a heavy scale. A heavy scale is like someone who get lost based upon the monetary gain, the money, the technology, the agenda, the observable event or some shit like that, the physical circumstance and stuff like that, the empirical evidence. Oh, I need something physically to happen to me for me to switch up and change how I look at something instead of doing it from a lighter scale. The lighter scale is just your light body, the mental body, the God body, your mind. You know what I'm saying? The psyche. So you able to foresee something based upon intuition, and you don't see it in the physical yet, but you feel that vibe of that frequency and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you're able to feel the vibe of where it's going from a lighter scale. The lighter scale is some type of thought, idea, feeling, emotion, just from the body language, how they saying it and stuff like that, or you being in a certain environment and surrounding and stuff like that. When it comes to like kind of like motherfuckers who be like empathic and stuff like that, it's like that type of energy. It's like you can just get around a certain environment and surrounding you, just like I don't know, there's something about this vibe. This shit feels spooky. This shit feel weird. This shit feel real negative. I feel like this shit gonna switch on real quick. Let me just do this, and then I'm a bad side. You know what I'm saying? Before it start getting like real hectic, real chaotic and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel the tension in the room, the elephant in the room. It's like that type of vibe. So just in general, right, it's just a person considered an authoritative, wise source of knowledge to make authorizations when it comes to decisions and insight, aka they have a know-how and know how to utilize what is known from a broad perspective, just in general. So it's like what I was saying earlier, based upon what is known, they're able to have some type of discernment for some type of authoritative decision. So they're going to put themselves first and put themselves in that independent, personalized route of, how does this benefit me and what doesn't benefit me and what feels right for me and what feels, true to what the fuck I'm trying to do based upon this circumstance and this situation, so I can get in the best circumstance and stuff like that, regardless of how positive or negative the situation is. What's the good from it? What's the bad? And then how can I balance that out to make it so I know how to maneuver? I know how to move in a room full of vultures or whatever Jay-Z bar that was. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit like that. And you know what I'm saying? Look at it from a more angelic, aka a higher angle, broader overall perspective instead of it being condensed into some type of lower perspective. So look at that as like someone who get lost into the flesh, or the material world, or the physical example, or the external world. They're not using their internal natures. They get lost into the okie doke of, you're gonna get promised this, or I'm gonna give you this based upon this physical pleasure and desire and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? You trying to understand the know-how of something internal first and then make it external, not the other way around, inside in. shit cut out, but doing things from the inside out, not from the outside in. So it's a precognition of the future inspired by deities, and deities are just mentalities through the forms of divination. So deities got nothing to do with entities, just in general. A deity is someone who's deifying something. If they're deifying something, they're doing some type of idol worship. Based upon that idol worship and adultery and stuff like that, right? They're worshiping, or they're turning their space, their world, and making a spaceship out of it. So they're willing to worship that thing, that thine idea, or that God, or that physical example. You know what I'm saying? That person, and they want to go to war for them based upon the space that they're in, based upon them feeding them good words and you know what I'm saying, love bombing or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like soothsaying, you know what I'm saying? They're able to preach and teach and say the right things to make it sound good, but in reality, they probably bullshitting you and they trying to extort or take advantage based upon them having good character or good charisma qualities and all that type shit. And then when you actually start to see in reality, when you take away the illusion or the deception, or the delusion they're putting in front of you and stuff like that, you just like, oh, okay, this motherfucker just a charlatan or some shit like that. So a deity is just anything that's like deified, and you could deify a thought, you can deify a vision, you can deify a dream, an aspiration, a emotion, a feeling, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you still deifying that. So it's based upon some type of mentality first. It's just the thought. It's just basically like the thought and idea of something that could happen, but it hasn't happened yet, and you're giving a lot of adultery towards that thought. You put in a lot of idol worship of that thing actually happening, and you just calling that concept God. That's why I be saying y'all be looking at God like a deity and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's supposed to be given like some type of idol worship or adultery and stuff like that. When really you're supposed to give it. When really you're supposed to give it like some type of praise or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a difference between idol worship and you just giving something praise. Praise is like how you say that word? A affirmation or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Something that's like inspiring you. Just like it's like an affirmation. So you praying on it, like not praying like, oh, this type of prayer, like praying on it like PREY, like you're praying on that thing, being a spiritual predator, and you're making that, like, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to find a way to attack that thing. You're trying to attack it so you can get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna attack that thing so you can pray on it. You can go get it and snatch it, and you understand the energy and make it a part of your energy, your world and stuff like that, your space, your spirit, and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Not no thing where you're being the prey. You're basically like the prey, and you let a whole bunch of different spiritual entities and deities prey on your ass and stuff like that. So they start utilizing and giving, taking your power away and all that type of shit, and use like your power for their own benefit instead of the other way around. Like I just explained, like you taking your power back and you making it so you're the source, and you in your own power, and you got the gift, and you got the talent, you got the skill set and stuff like that, and you're not giving your power away to some deity or what y'all calling God, just in general. So deities got nothing to do with entities. Entities are just some independent shape and form. It's not even a shape and form, really. It's just an entity. So I think that's possible, that's independent and living on its own, based upon its own birthright and sentience and stuff like that. And then deity is just the low vibrational version of that. It's just someone in a certain character or thought and idea of what that is, but they have to come in. The only way they can come through is based upon you deifying it in some shape or form. They have to make it demonic. I'm not saying like demonic as in bad. I'm saying they have to descend it. Like whatever ascended position it was in, if it's ascended, then it's like someone who's like anointed. You know what I'm saying? It's like a higher nature and stuff like that. The higher and the lighter that it is, the less and less it gets physical. The less and less it gets into a shape and form and stuff like that. So it's based upon something that's a part of a world or like an atmosphere or like an essence and stuff like that, and none of that is physical and stuff like that, but you feel the essence or the substance or the existence or the entity of what that is just in general. And the minute it gets lower, it becomes more men-like, and it becomes like a fallen angel, a fallen angle, to make it more condensed so it can make sense into the flesh, into the physical and stuff like that. And it had to come in a certain language or a certain body language and all that type of shit, a certain mentality, a certain shape and form, some type of animal, some type of human, some type of physical circumstance that gets shown in real life and all that type of shit. Like it has to get deified. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to become demonic. It has to descend, like literally, like it has to become a lower nature and stuff like that. The same way how we in a human body, human flesh right now and stuff like that, we are in the lower nature lower natures of the overall and stuff like that. That's why a lot of people on Earth and humans, they get lost into their lower natures a lot of time and stuff like that. So look at that as physical pleasures in the physical world, in the material world, and things of the earth, and all that type shit. All the way down to like their perception. So that's why like that atheist agnostic mind state be so prevalent here and stuff like that. Cause it's like the non-believing type of energy and stuff like that. Or you only believe in something based upon empirical evidence or some type of logic and rationality or some type of methodology or some type of technology. If it's not something that's constantly being there that I can't turn into a technology, then I'm not going to believe in it. If it's not in the flesh, if it's not in the physical, I'm just not going to believe in that thing. Or, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to believe there's something that's greater than me, because that's all spirituality is, believing in something that's greater than you. And I have to make it into a lesser shape and form. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Like, all that is lesser shape and forms and all that type shit when it comes to deities. I felt like I had to go in about that. But like, yeah, bro. So I'm not even trying to say us being in, us vibing so low and we're like in the death realm, the physical world, so eventually we're gonna die and deteriorate and stuff like that. No, it's a transition. I'm not even trying to say that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like all of life just in general is a transition. Oh, when you get born, that's a transition. When you like something that got when you give a lot of life to something just in general, or someone who is in sentience right now and they live in their life and all that type shit, that's a transition. Death, that's a transition. You know what I'm saying? And then rebirth or like reincarnation, that's a transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of it is a transition. All of it is transmuted and transformation and stuff like that. I'm not even saying like it's bad. I'm just saying the whole thing in itself is a transition. All of that is a part of life. All of that is a part of existence. So you existent, oh, you have to die and kill certain shapes and forms of some type of spectrum of how you looked at something so you can move on to the next thing. It's the same way how you could think one way 5 years ago, but you don't think like that no more because you let that shit die out and stuff like that. You don't, you know what I'm saying? You didn't experience certain things so you can look at something from a more broader perspective from what you was once condensed into. And that's what we here to do in general, just experience shit when it comes to expansion and contraction. So we're going to expand out of a mind and then condense into a new one and stuff like that. But you can't condense or be thinking more dense or thinking more lower or thinking more of the flesh and all that type shit without this process that I'm talking about right now. You have to deteriorate and let old mind states decay so you can make more room, so you can make the space bigger so you can expand again. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's like I ain't saying no crazy shit at all and stuff like that. This is how we gain awareness. This is how we gain comprehension just in general. Like, the minute you get more information, you have to make more room based upon the information you just got. So you have to expand the room, expand the parameter or your perception or the world that you in, and that's just your space, and your spirit is your space. So the minute you gain more of that, it's just gonna make you have a broader intelligence just in general, or another angle of how you can look at something compared to before. So based upon you having more knowledge, and that's knowledge, you're gonna have more of a know-how. And then if you know how to learn from those different experiences, from what you know and what you're aware about, you're gonna have a better discernment when it comes to being wise and all that type shit. So, like I was saying before, it's a precognition of the future, inspired by deities, aka mentalities, through forms of divination. Divination is just divine / heavenly nature. So it's literally everything I was just saying, like just now. And being heavenly is just being angelic. And a higher nature is just you being heavenly and stuff like that. Heaven is just the home for God. God just means all possibilities. So the overall of existence and stuff like that. So the minute you know how to make a subjective heaven and stuff like that, you have to put yourself in that state of bliss just in general. Because when y'all be talking about heaven, y'all be talking about the sky. The sky is the atmosphere. So the atmosphere is just the sphere at most, the world at most. And the more you know how to make a world, make an atmosphere from your own subjective point of view, and you know how to make that a part of the overall world that we in right now and stuff like that, that's how we can bring heavenly natures or heaven on earth or God on earth and all that type shit. So the minute you start talking like, oh yeah, I'm with God, you're just with all possibilities. And the minute you with all possibilities, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna deify some things, right? You're gonna make things demonic, and you're gonna bring angels or have a higher angle of how to look at something. So you can bring a heaven or a hell and stuff like that. Now we're really trying to make a heaven and be in our lighter bodies and our higher natures and all that type shit, so we can have a broader awareness, so we can get out of this shape and form as being a human, so we can expand into a higher shape and form, which is just a more expanded shape and form. If I say higher, it just means expansion. If I say lower, it just means condensing. You know what I'm saying? If it's condensing, it's closing something in, it's crushing something in. And then if it's higher, it's just expanding out of what just got crushed in. So just in general, right? Oracles are just a personal alternative source slash medium for God going through you, because you are the translation between God and the things which are universal and stuff like that. So God can't come through you. So like when it comes to oracles and them being a medium and stuff like that, right? We all have that energy. We all can be a sorcerer. We all can be a magician. We all got an imagination and stuff like that. So we can all be a source. My fault. We can all be a source for these type of things for the most part. So from us being that medium, God or all possibilities has to go through you to make it so you could be a part of the universe, or things that are universal or like global and stuff like that. Because it's not a noun like things in outer space move on their own and like UFOs and aliens about to come down and all that type of shit. No, you are that. You are the filter. You are the filter for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we make the world what it is from our own one-of-a-kind, individualistic, authentic point of view, and then we make the objective point of view, just in general, of us as humans coming together so we can have a broader angle of how we can look at shit. Now, the minute you start getting lost into some type of elitism, aristocrat, classism, and you think you're higher class because you have more money or a monetary gain or a funding system and stuff like that based upon colonization and capitalism, but that's a different video in itself and stuff like that. It's just showing how much you getting lost into the flesh. You don't want to believe in something that's greater than yourself, and then believing in something that's greater than yourself is spirituality just in general, because you're going to believe in the whole entire actuality, all possibilities, God for real, not no deity or not no monetary gain, and not no thing based upon the flesh and stuff like that, or not something that's literally going to deteriorate and die out and all that type shit. It's going to show you that shit don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because your spirit is no shape and form. It's just the world in the space that you in, and then it turns into a mind, a mentality, and then it turns into the flesh, the physical. So spirit, mind, body is going to turn into a body, and then your light body is your mentality, your psyche, and then your physical body is your second body. The blood, flesh, and organs, and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? So like based upon that, and all these things are natural transitions just in general and stuff like that, right? You're going to use different technologies and tools, aka things based upon society and civilization and all that type shit, to make it so like we can live better in the physical and stuff like that, all the way down to cars, you know what I'm saying? All these different jobs and occupations and stuff like that to give us something creative, productive to do, so we can all creatively put ourselves in our own position to cultivate something based upon different cultures and all that type shit, different backgrounds and all that type shit. So it brings more of that heavenly energy in the world. They're trying to, like, God be trying to show us, no, you're the creator. Not no, like God, the way I look at God as a deity, but y'all be like, oh, it's the great creator and the great spirit and all that type shit. God trying to show y'all, no, because you're so aware and you have so much comprehension and sentience and stuff like that, and you're so lively, and your spirit being in the physical shape and form of a human right now and all that type shit, that means you did that for a long period of time and stuff like that. God trying to show you, oh, you're the medium. You could be the oracle. You could be the magician. You could be the source. Based upon your imagination, based upon your dream and imagination, your creative attributes and skill sets and all that type shit, and your natural talents and gifts and stuff like that, to show you have to be a creator and stuff like that. God is just the example of the overall of creation, but God trying to show us just in general, oh, you have to be that for yourself. You have to build yourself up. You have to create a better circumstance for yourself. You have to be like the walking angel and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? You need to have more of a comprehension when it comes to your experiences based upon what you're observing. And your spirit is no shape and form. So it's what you're observing, and then it's going to turn into you observing a thought idea, which is just a mentality, and then it's going to turn into your physical observations based upon your different experiences and stuff like that. So based upon what your soul is doing, and your soul is just your individual space, your individual world and stuff like that, you have to make that relative to the overall space, which is just spirituality, the actuality of the overall space and world that we in just in general and stuff like that. And the minute you know how to make that more relative, and you know how to be the most charismatic, the most relatable and all that type shit, like me, I'm a Taurus, you know what I'm saying, I'm a Venus, I already know how to do that. And I go hard going with that. I go hard with this shit. I know how to be relatable. But it's like, yeah, the more you know how to do that, the more you end up being in that oracle type of energy. You walking with God. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to be more heavenly and all that type shit. You're trying to turn that into a state of being where you're able to make a home for that, a solace for that in your own perspective, and then you can share that with others too and stuff like that. That's why a lot of Christian motherfuckers, they be making different churches and stuff like that and sanctuaries for that. They just do it in a religious and monastery type of way and stuff like that. But that's based upon their perspective. We're all trying to do the same thing based upon the different cultures and perspectives. It's just we all gonna have our own subjective point of view and cultures and backgrounds of how we want to go about it and stuff like that. And then some people do it based upon the intentions of degeneracy, and then some people do it all off the intentions of doing it for their people, and they actually have some creative thing to offer to the world and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So boom. So the same way how y'all look at oracles and them being oracles just in general for the divine, y'all look at them as like a preacher, like, you know what I'm saying, like priests, like preacher teacher type of energy and stuff like that. And a great teacher is one who is a student of life and is willing to let his disciples and students teach them as well for where they lack perspective, which only makes them a better teacher. So based upon that oracle or that priest or that priestess, right, being in that preacher teacher type of energy, you can't be no teacher, you can't be no preacher, you can't be no oracle, you know what I'm saying, you can't be no orator, well-spoken individual and stuff like that without being a student of life first. So from you being a student of life and you being the walking disciple of life just in general, you know there's other things out here but besides your own ego, your own perception of how you look at shit. And the more you're able to receive other people's perceptions and you know how to, you know what I'm saying, be a part of the world just in general, right? Like, you know what I'm saying, like the overall world of listening to different people of different backgrounds, if it makes sense, you know what I'm saying, if it has a lot of common sense behind it and all that type shit, right, it's only going to add your qualities of being a better oracle, preacher, teacher, and all that type shit. So you don't get trapped in your own lectures, you don't get trapped in your own authorship, you don't get trapped in your own books and all that type shit. You don't get trapped into your own perspective based upon what you'll accomplish and stuff like that. So look at that as like a monetary gain. You're able to be open to other perspectives outside of yours so you can gain more knowledge and wisdom and stuff like that. Even if it's some bullshit, some negative situation, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's a negative situation, that's still a teaching moment. That's still a learnable moment. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about what did you learn from the highs and the lows of life in general. And then you being in life and actually being in life for real and stuff like that is going to give you more of those abilities and stuff like that. So you going through the ups and downs, but it's going to make it so you know how to maneuver in a room full of vultures and all that type shit. And you able to put yourself in a whole bunch of different spaces, a whole bunch of different spirits, a whole bunch of different pockets. So you always gonna have a lot of sentient type of energy. You always gonna be creative. You always gonna be productive and stuff like that. You always gonna have another angle and all that type shit. And it's gonna make you have a big spirit, a big world from your own subjective point of view based upon your soul. Your soul is just your individual space, your individual world and stuff like that. So people gonna be like, oh, this motherfucker is in a big world, a big space. Oh, this motherfucker is really imaginative and stuff like that. This motherfucker is really creative and all that type shit. Oh, this motherfucker is really observant of a lot of different shit. I rather go to him about some oracle type of things because he really with God. It seems like this nigga has a lot of godly essence. That's what they talking about, and not God as a deity. On godly, I'm trying to show y'all the discernment and the difference between the two things and shit like that. And then they start going into different oracles like sanctuaries and temples and stuff like that. So like with Christians, when it, you know what I'm saying, like when Christians be making what they call that, tabernacles, like a place of worship, like a house of worship and all that type shit. So like a house of prayer and all that type shit, right? It goes back into the shit I was saying. Not out of worship, like prayer like this and you giving your power away and stuff like that. Like prayer like, oh, you're gonna pray on that. Oh, you should make a temple and sanctuary for that. You need to do that inside the mind first though, your own psyche. You have to build yourself up. So you need to make a good heavenly space, home, world where you know how to pray on things. So you could be the spiritual predator and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Not no R. Kelly shit. Not no R. Kelly shit. You know what I'm saying? Not no body calling, all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying like that. Like, no, you being a spiritual predator, you able to kill shit. You able to hunt those things down. You able to just take hold of those different spaces and stuff like that. You know how to attack it. You know how to hit it at different angles and stuff like that. You know how to spiritually fight and stuff like that. And God wants you strong. You know what I'm saying? So God wants you mentally resilient. He wants you strong and all that type shit. He wants you to be mentally flexible and fit and all that type shit. Well, spiritually flexible and fit, and it's gonna turn into a mentality and then turn into the physical and all that type shit. But you're supposed to make a house of prayer on your own volition based upon your own temple, and then you're able to make a place for that and stuff like that. So like different ceremonies, like shit Native Americans used to be doing all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like a sanctuary or like a temple or like what the Asians be doing. They just doing it based upon their own cultures and their own perspective, but they all doing the same type of energy and stuff like that, based upon like, you know, like Taoism and all that type shit. Like, yeah, because that's how the earliest oracles got established, like sanctuaries and temples and stuff like that, where people believe the divine communicated through natural phenomena such as gases, springs, trees, and that's basically just animism and stuff like that. So like some Native American shit and stuff like that. So it's like not shamanism where it's just earth worship. Like no, animism. So non-physical to physical. All these things kind of have a spirit to them and stuff like that, even if it's not living and stuff like that. Like all these different things. So different animism, like all these things have like a spirit, a space, a world that they live in a whole bunch of different perspectives. And you can see that through the natural things when it comes to life. So the springs, the trees, the interaction with animals and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just when it comes to oracles, when they start talking about it, like priests and priestess, like religious aspects, or like Greek deities and stuff like that, like Apollo and Zeus, even though Apollo and Zeus is represent Mercury and Jupiter and stuff like that from astrology, but that's a different video. But it's like they get y'all lost based upon the lookership, based upon ancient Roman Greece and stuff like that. And when it comes to religion and stuff like that, based upon their perspective, because like it's based upon things being westernized for the most part. So it's like they don't want to show y'all the actual way of how to look at it. Is always going to lead back to colonization and capitalism in some shape or form of things getting westernized, and they're only going to show you the example of something they already done capitalize on. So they're going to show some type of Greek deity or some white man statue or some religious priest or priestess or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or they want you to go inside the church, like a Christian church and stuff like that. So they basically try to make you go into the burning church and stuff like that, based upon their concepts and their ideas of what they did to burn and crash out about that, and to make you follow suit because it's something they have control over it and stuff like that. Because if it was actually on some oracle, preacher, teacher type of energy, right? Because yeah, like if it was actually on that type of energy, it'll be something where, oh, you could get that for yourself. Like they'll be talking like the way I'm talking right now. Like, oh, I'm giving you the overall energy and essence and substance of what the fuck this shit is, and then I'm giving you it in a certain perspective so you can create and produce your own perspective about it. Because something that's heavenly to you or right for you, it may be bad for me or negative for me, or it's gonna feel a lot of uncertainty for me. But you're gonna be more in that certainty, conviction type of energy, and you're gonna do it based upon what resonate with your soul. You know what I'm saying? Your individual space, your individual world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? So from you being in your world and what worked for you, and the thing in the people, places, and things, and environment, and ecosystem, and atmosphere you like to have around like you and your world and stuff like that, that's gonna work and stuff like that. I'm just explaining it from like a spirituality perspective or the overall reality perspective. So a whole bunch of different people, it don't even matter who the fuck they is, they know what the fuck I'm trying to say. It could be any fucking human on earth listening to this in English and all that type shit with closed captions. If they not speaking in English and all that type shit, they know what the fuck they know what the fuck I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like they know what the fuck I'm talking about. So like that's the power y'all got just in general when it comes to speaking things into existence and understanding different oracles and stuff like that. You got that energy based upon you trying to make that temple for God and all that type shit. And you can make a perspective, I mean not a perspective, you can make a village or a tribe or a culture out of that based upon these type of concepts that I'm talking about just in general. So yeah, like that's just the power. Like that's basically me showing y'all how to take your power back in general, so you can have control over your imagination and have a broader way when it comes to trying to be a source between you and God, or like you as a medium, and you could be used as a vessel, no pun intended, because I know that's my channel name, but it's going to be you being used as a vessel for God, all possibilities in your own perspective, in your own way and stuff like that. And then you don't have to go through some type of adultery type of practice like religion or something like that and be a part of that, when a lot of the time those ain't your people and that's not your culture anyway. And it's probably not going to resonate with your spirit, but you feel like to be relatable to the physical world based upon the examples we have out here, based upon the programs they set up in society and shit like that. You can't look at it no other way. And I'm trying to show you can look at it at another way and stuff like that to make it more relative and subjective for your point of view, and then you can try to make that part of the objective. Like you know what I'm saying, like how I'm doing right now. Of like, oh, okay, this is like someone coming up with their own creativity and stuff like that, like an artist or some shit like that. This is like them coming up with more albums or more songs and stuff like that, so they can build up in their catalog and all that type shit. I'm giving you more equipment. I'm giving you more of a tool set and stuff like that. I'm giving your power back from me even explaining it like that. So I'm speaking that into existence just in general because I understand my own power and all that type shit. And that's what oracles be understanding. You know what I'm saying? Even priests and preachers, religious motherfuckers, they understand that. Or like cult leaders and shit like that. They understand that from like a spiritual perspective. Now they probably like they still lost into the bias based upon whatever religion or whatever cult or group of people that are part of and stuff like that. But the energy that I'm talking about, like the frequency, the vibration in general and stuff like that, the spirit that they in is basically this, just in general. But like, yeah.